You've all seen thousands of people die. Their heads cut off, knives in their throats, bullets. You've seen that thousands of times. That has gone into the subconscious mind. How many persons have you seen killed before your very eyes? How many? How many?
In India, when they killed Indira Gandhi, the next day the Sikhs were killing the Hindus when I was on the train.
So you saw?
I saw one being killed
One.
right in front, and I saw many dead ones.
How many of you have seen a dead person killed? It's a small. Most people have not seen a person killed. Have not seen a person murdered. But that image, that experience, is a very familiar experience. We have seen it thousands of times. It has gone into our subconscious mind. We have either seen it on the news, or we have seen it in the movies. And that has programmed our subconscious mind. It's not only killing, it's thievery, it's people trying to cheat others. All of these things that we continue, whatever is the worst, the news, what is the news? What is the worst things that have happened today? A half an hour of the worst aspect of the planet. So this goes into the mind and it creates an image which is not true, a distorted image of reality. And that distorted image of reality causes us to feel vulnerable and fearful in a reality which is not like that. Most people are good people. Most people are not engaged in all of this that we see 24 hours a day on the television or in the movies or on the radio. They're people who love and care for their families. They get up, they go to work, they come home. And so the world is not as dangerous a place as we have come to believe. Of course, by believing it and by closing off and not caring for a fellow man, so that persons grow up in cities feeling that no one cares for them, we are creating exactly the situation we fear. So that people go crazy and kill 20 people they don't even know. Because they grow up in a society in which that fear exists, which causes each person to close himself off, to not care about his neighbor. And so people grow up with an intense feeling of alienation from society as a whole. So it's the thought form of fear and danger which is actually creating the danger in the long run. The fourth aspect is the aspect of addiction or attachment. The more addicted we are, the more we fear. And the more we fear, the more addicted we become. That is, a person with the longest list of attachments is the person who is most likely to have the most fears. Because he's the person who is most likely not to be able to fulfill that long list. A person who has a small list of attachments is more likely to be relaxed because he needs less to be happy. Sai Baba has said that the richest man in the world is the man with the least desires. And the poorest man in the world is the man with the most desires. So whether we're content or not is a simple relationship between what we have and what we want. If we want a lot and have little, we're not happy. If we have a lot and we want more, we're still not happy. If we have little and want little, we're very happy. So happiness is not a matter of what you want, but it's a relationship between what you want and what you have. And the problem there is that we can have a lot, but there can be one thing we do not have, and rather than saying how happy I am and how grateful I am that I have those 9 things, I say how unhappy I am that I don't have the 10th. So it's good to remember that to count our blessings, to count all the things that we do have. Another aspect which combines with fear in a vicious circle is imagination. We learned last week how to use our imagination constructively. by creating positive images. Imagination, however, can also function negatively, and often does. I remember coming home as a child from the horror movies and waking up in the middle of the night and seeing my jacket get up and dance in the room. All kinds of phantoms come out of the closet and from out of the bed. And it was all my imagination, which was having an orgy based on some scenes which I had seen at the movie. So when imagination combines with fear, it really creates a lot of problems in the mind. I mean, the child is 10 minutes late coming home from school, and we've already imagined him in the hospital calling the police, that he's been molested. Imagination has run away. Nothing has happened. So it's important to channel the imagination in a positive way. And every time we see the imagination being controlled by fear, to introduce positive thought forms into our minds, to introduce the opposite positive thought form. We start worrying, I'm going to be ill, or my child's going to be ill, or something evil is going to happen. Immediately bring the positive thought form of ourselves and everyone else in light and everything as it should be. Another aspect which combines with fear is memory. Few, if any, fears are of the present. Fears are usually programmings produced in the past which have to do with the future. Maybe I won't succeed. Maybe I will lose this. Maybe I will die. Maybe someone else will die. What we fear is almost always in the future. And the reason we fear it is that we have had some experience in the past. So it's important to understand that our memory is not only a quantitative experience, but it's a qualitative experience. What do I mean by that? Take the example of a person who has driven a car 365 days a year for 20 years. That's 20 times 365, that's 6,000 times. Or maybe 60,000 times, a large number of times. And then one day, after 20 years, he has an accident. And the next day, he can't get back in the car. He fears it. One experience in his mind now is weighing more than 6,000 experiences. One experience. You understand? If I have had so many positive interactions with persons, and one person hurts me, I don't remember the thousands of pleasant interactions, but I remember the one. And it makes me fear interactions with other persons.